The drumbeats of war are getting louder every minute, but world leaders are shuttling between capitals trying to avert a full-fledged conflict. French President Emmanuel Macron is in Kiev meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky. This comes a day after his meeting with the Russian president. Macron says he has managed to convince Putin not to escalate the crisis, as the West warns Moscow could be planning an invasion. As he arrived in Kiev, Macron told journalists that he obtained that there will be no degradation nor escalation. The French leader says his aim was to freeze the game, to prevent an escalation and open up new perspectives. According to him, this objective has been fulfilled. However, the Kremlin has denied any such assertion. The Kremlin denies that Putin told Macron there will be no new maneuvers near Ukraine. Moscow says that Russia and France had not been able to strike a deal, but agreed that de-escalation was required. Now, this is a major setback for the French president, who is reprising his role as a crisis mediator. It is a role that has produced limited results in the past. His latest attempts to lower tensions between Putin and Zelensky are consistent with the two main features of his foreign policy since 2017. His efforts come just 3 months ahead of a presidential election at home. After Putin, Macron now faces another tough task. He has to try to convince a wary Zelensky to accept any compromises. Kiev has laid out 3 red lines that it says it will not cross to find a solution. No compromise over Ukraine's territorial integrity, no direct talks with the separatists, and no interference in its foreign policy. But even as Macron sought a diplomatic solution with Kiev, US President Joe Biden ramped up the pressure on Moscow, warning that he would end the Nord Stream 2 if tanks rolled into Ukraine. The American president's declaration at a press conference with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz was the bluntest so far on the fate of the massive pipeline, but Scholz himself was less direct. The German Chancellor only said that Berlin was united with Washington when asked directly about the sanctions on Nord Stream 2. Scholz will also be in Moscow and Kiev next week for talks with Putin and Zelensky. For more on these developments, let's go straight across now to our executive editor, Palki Sharma Upadhyay, who's joining us live from Kiev. Hi, Palki. The French president is meeting his Ukrainian counterpart. This comes a day after his meeting with the Russian leader. Macron has said that there will be a freezing of the game, and that's his aim, and that was accomplished. It sure is freezing there in Kiev, and you have been braving the cold. But can he freeze the game, as he says, given how Putin has rejected that claim?
It looks incredibly difficult. While Emmanuel Macron has said that he's very close to arriving at a deal, and he has managed to get the Russian president to say that the best idea would be to find a compromise that suits all sides, and this is a war that no one will win. Remember, in the same breath, Vladimir Putin also made a nuclear threat. He said that on its own, Russia may be not as powerful militarily as the NATO combined, but Russia is the biggest nuclear power, and nothing is off the table. So that's a very, very powerful statement. Some of the things that he said in that press conference after that 5-hour-long meeting with Emmanuel Macron are telling. While diplomacy continues, while talks continue, Molly, we have to bear in mind that the deployments have not stopped. They keep going up. Russia and Belarus are going to step up their military drills in 2 days from now. So there is nothing to suggest that there is a compromise that has been reached. Emmanuel Macron, of course, is trying very hard, and the Ukrainians have spelt out their red lines. They've said that this is what we want, and the 2 regions of Crimea and Donbass are non-negotiable. But Russia is not prepared to make any concessions whatsoever. So this is a stalemate, and if anything, the temperatures are only going up despite the snow that you see around me.
Right. Palki, tell us more about the mood on the ground. What have you gathered through your interactions with the locals, with the government representatives so far?
It's hard to sort of point at exactly what the people of Ukraine are feeling at this point. You could call it a sense of fatalistic calm. They're going about their business, but there is a tension that is palpable in the air. You speak to people and they say, we do not trust Vladimir Putin. I've not met a single person in Kiev who has said something nice about the Russian president, and they've called him all kinds of names, and they've said that there is no telling what he does. And we know that the first time Georgia and Ukraine asked to be members of the NATO in 2008, and Putin issued the first threats, he did go ahead with that 4-day invasion into Georgia and took away two regions. So he has done it before. In 2014 again, when things were heating up, he did annex Crimea, and this is despite all of the doomsday predictions about the Russian economy, on whether they will be able to bankroll a war or not. Putin has gone ahead and done pretty much whatever he has wanted, and the world has watched. While the stakes are much higher this time, while the world is much better prepared this time, there is no telling what Moscow is going to do. Everything is on the table. All options are open, and by most security assessments, it could be a war or a small-scale invasion. The Russian army is prepared for all of it. And the fact that the Americans keep issuing these intelligence assessments, as they call them, 50,000 civilian deaths, 25,000 soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers could lose their lives in a full-scale invasion. And then yesterday, the U.S. president saying that Americans would be wise to leave Ukraine, that does not inspire a lot of confidence.
Indeed, and the American president also has declared that he would end the Nord Stream 2 project if tanks rolled into Ukraine. The German chancellor, though, did not seem to be on the same page, was less direct when asked about the project. What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline is not Joe Biden's to cancel. It is a pipeline between Germany and Russia. And if someone is going to take a decision on cancelling it, it is going to be the Germans or the Russians. So while the American president and the German chancellor did put up a united front and did say that we remain allies and there is no doubt about Germany's commitment to NATO, the fact is that when the question of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline came out, and Joe Biden very vehemently said that I promise that it will be cancelled, this will be the end of the pipeline if the Russians invade, the German chancellor did not make any such commitment. And that is something that the Russians have noticed, as have all of the people who are watching this situation, and we know that they're not exactly on the same page. And at the end of the day, these are all leaders who have to fight elections, Molly. These are all leaders who have to be answerable to their voters when the prices go up, when gas prices go up, when a security crunch happens, energy security is jeopardized. They have to answer to their citizens. The Russian president has no such compulsion, so he can go ahead and do whatever he wants to. There are also assessments that senior officials in the Russian establishment have said that Putin does not quite understand the risks involved, and this is not a viable option, attacking Ukraine. This is according to the Americans. They seem to have intercepted something, they say. This is what reports say. But saying that everyone in the West, all NATO allies are on the same page would be a bit premature, although they're trying to project a united front.
Palki Sharma Upadhyay getting us those updates from Kiev. Thanks very much for the moment. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.